right behind you.
Back to special ed for a minute. I like your idea of asking teachers what they need. My son-in-law is a special ed teacher, junior high, emotionally and behaviorally disturbed children. And he feels that the biggest impediment for him in the classroom is untreated mental illness among the students and oftentimes among their parents. And he also has some opinions about the education system as a whole and how it seems to crush black culture.
Yes.
And he's not in favor of that. So he needs a new job, but maybe that's interesting information for you to have.
So I'll take you back to the first part of your question about mental health resources. So we know that our student to counselor ratio in our schools is terrible. I think it's 700 to 1, the last figures that they're giving us. You know, and I certainly know in my kids' elementary school, there's no counselor on site every day, you know, for an entire school. There's their school nurse and the principal and the teachers. And, you know, so I think we all recognize that, but one of the hardest things is that the folks who are the least able to advocate for themselves are often the folks who need the most help and need the most, you know, maybe funding. And it is hard because if you're a child who's struggling, you're not going to know how to use the legislative system to your advantage. And if you're a parent of a child who's struggling, you're busy trying to parent. And so I think, I mean, that one of the good things about this, we have a couple moms who are also doctors, and we now have a couple trained therapists who are now serving in the House. And I think this also is connected just to across the board. We don't have mental health parity. It's you know, technically the law says we're supposed to have parity, but we really don't. A lot of this is you know, it's funding, but it's also policy, and it's one of those issues that's really hard. And so I think for some legislators, it's easier to not dive into that, but I know Senator Isaacson and I both really care about that issue, so I'm certainly bringing it up whenever I can. And I think you know, it also speaks to something that the Lieutenant Governor talks about a lot. You know, our kids don't exist in silos. They're full human beings who have needs inside and outside of our schools. And on the handout of mine I have up there, one of the bills that I have that, you know, sort of talks about that is the No Child Left Inside bill, recognizing that when kids spend more time outdoors and are more connected to nature, they actually do better in school, they're psychologically better, they're physically better. So I think we're just gonna have to chip away at it. But at the same time, if we're struggling just to get the, you know, 2% on the per pupil formula, it's where is the additional funding gonna come to pay for those counselors? So it's a complicated issue, but I'm glad that you brought it up.